All right, welcome back, guys. So, one thing I wasn't expecting whenever I was getting into suppressors is needing a cover. I know I probably should have, thought about that, but I did not. Um, that wasn't a big deal, or at least so I thought, until I started looking online and looking for a good suppressor cover, and pretty much everything was at least $100. And I was like, okay, well, that's not horrible considering this thing was, like around $1,000 or a little bit more, depending on, where you get it, if you get it on sales, all that kind of stuff. So $100, I was like, well, that's not that big of a deal. But then I started doing some research, and those suppressor covers that are that cheap, I say cheap loosely, they don't have as high of a temperature rating as they should. So if you're familiar with this suppressor here, it's actually full auto rated, and they're a chunky boy. They're made out of just solid steel. Well, not solid steel. I'm sure there's some other components in there, but it's mostly steel, and the thing is just hefty for its size. So it's full auto rated, and in order to get something that is a suppressor cover that's also full auto rated, because again, I wanted this suppressor cover to leave on there all the time, so I started doing some googly Google and see if I could find an alternative that I could just make myself. Because I was looking, I was like, surely I can just buy some flame resistant, or a high temperature material and just wrap the sucker myself, Velcro it, I don't know, super glue the thing. And that's essentially what I did. So if you look at this thing, if you'll notice on the inside, it has grooves on here, and I stole this idea off of someone from Reddit or arf.com, the ar15.com. I can't remember where exactly I found it, but I stumbled across it, and I was like, you know what? If that works, I'm going to be a happy boy, because this is relatively cheap. Now, their version, I think, just had this wrap on the inside. It did not have this around the outside, and I wanted something that looked good also, or at least looked passable and was kind of functional from a serious use standpoint, not just a functional standpoint. Because if you've ever shot with a suppressor, you're going to burn yourself at some point, whether it's unintentional, or you go to remove it if it's a QD mount like this, and your thumbprints are permanently attached to this thing like they are on this one. Or whenever you go to sling your rifle, you just burn the snot out of your legs, or melted a hole in your pants. So that's less than desirable. So with this thing, what I came up with, and for the record, I was able to shoot this thing. I only tested it to one full mag at a time. I fired 30 rounds, pretty consistent, like quickly in a row. And I think I have video footage of this. If I do, I'll insert it. I'm pretty sure I do. And I've shot with this on 2 different occasions at the range, and I fired, an entire mag, 30 rounds through it, and I was still able to hold it like this, and it was warm, but it did not burn me, and I could hold it like this more or less indefinitely. And I'll show you what I did here. So, I've talked long enough. This, if you're familiar with it, is a dish drying mat. It's made out of silicone, and you can see the backside of it. So I got the idea of using just a silicone mat, because silicone, from what I've read and other people talk about online, it doesn't really melt or burn per se. I mean, it will eventually, because everything will. But it kind of hardens, so it loses that kind of lubricity, stretchy softness to it, and it just kind of gets hard and then crumbles apart. So I was like, well, that's acceptable. It shouldn't mess up my suppressor. So I bought a dish drying mat for like $6 or $7 on Amazon. I'll insert a link below, but I wanted something that was brown, because tactical. I wanted it to match my OCD brown gun, brown and green. But what I saw online, and he just used something like this, and that's what he wrapped it with. And I forgot if he just used tape, or I can't remember what exactly it was. But I was like, that looks pretty trashy, and I want to do a little bit more for my $1,000 suppressor over here. So I cut off a little section just like that. Obviously, there's more material here to work with. So you can actually make probably about, based on this, I could make another 5 suppressor covers just out of this material. So as it wears out, if it does, I don't know, maybe I won't shoot enough to actually matter. But as it wears out, I can replace it with another one. Now what I wrap the outside with It's just this. It's just that gauze material that sticks to itself, and I just bought a camo version of it. I bought this on Amazon. I'll link below. You can get whatever, you know, camo pattern you want. It comes in all different camo patterns. I will have to test this under IR with my NVGs. I didn't think about it. I should have done it tonight, but my kid's already asleep, and I have to go in there in order to get them, so I'm not dealing with that. I will comment down below if I remember how it performs under IR. Again, I don't think that's a big of a deal because you would also have to test, you know, what the can with this looks like under IR by itself. You know, with it being cold, it'll look different. So I'm curious about that, but I haven't done it yet. But if you'll notice, on the inside, the ridges, you got all the ridges along here. Now right there, it's flat. If I was thinking about it, I should have cut it, you know, somewhere more, you know, just centered so I didn't have this edge over here. Not a big deal. I just wanted to use as much material as possible. But my thought process behind this, and I had to pick one of these that had the edges or these ridges raised a little bit, but not too much. That way it would allow airflow. So if you look in here, notice you can actually see all the way through on all of these, which allows airflow to pass through here, so it allows the can to cool off. Now, is it going to retain more heat than it would without this? Yes. But this does allow airflow through there, and you can kind of see on the back end, it's wrapped a little bit. You can kind of see around this collar. Yeah, right there, you can kind of see through it a little bit. So it's not perfect. But all I did is I just wrapped the thing on there and then just started wrapping it with this. And then at the very end, I ended up super gluing just the material on the end because this kept slowly coming off. You might see this in the video. So I just got some super glue and just glued the thing down, and I don't know, maybe that will be the failure point at some point. But it's holding just fine. Is it the greatest looking thing on the planet? No, but it cost, again, $7 for this, and I think each roll of this was like, I don't know, $2, something like that. So if you factor in, you know, $2 for this plus, what is it, $7 for this, but you can turn it into like 6 different things. So you're essentially spending $3 on an entire suppressor cover that holds up as well as a $100 one, just that you would buy online. So I think that's a win. Maybe this is useful to you, maybe it's not. One thing I will say is the silicone, because it's slippery, if you have a suppressor like this that is very slick, it doesn't have texture, I can pull it ever so slightly forward, but it is hard. Whenever you wrap it on here, and I don't know, maybe I could show this on YouTube, maybe I can't. They have weird rules. But whenever you're wrapping it on here, start on this end and just wrap it super tight to get it as tight as you can on this end, because this under recoil is going to try to slide forward off the end of it. I haven't had that happen. It hasn't moved at all because, again, I just wrapped it super tight on this end, so it actually kind of curls over the edge just a little bit over here. Now, if you have a non-QD version, obviously you would wrap it all the way down as far as you could, but since this one's QD, I have to have this accessible, so this part still gets hot, but obviously, you know, this doesn't. This end would still get hot as well, but you can't really cover that up. I love this thing, so I'm going to be doing this with any suppressor I buy in the future. I'm going to be doing this. Obviously, you could still burn yourself on the end, and this could still burn you. But generally, since this sticks out further, and your handguard kind of, you know, sticks out a little bit further, all your flashlights and crap, I haven't burned myself on this little piece of metal that's exposed. And I just love this thing. So hopefully you appreciate this video. Hopefully I can edit this to be fairly short because I tend to talk forever. But I thought this was pretty useful. And again, I can just continue making these things for like $3 a piece, and they will last just as long as one of those $100 ones. I don't know at what point, you know, maybe this stuff will catch on fire. I'm sure it would at some point. I have no idea what the material of this is made out of. Again, I'll put all the links down below, but I just thought that might be something useful for y'all if you're looking for a practical suppressor cover to not burn yourself. But you don't want to spend, you know, any money and you're cheap like me. So hopefully you appreciate this kind of content, and I appreciate you. And if you have made it this far into the video, I will go ahead and do another giveaway. I still have 2 more giveaway packages from just different stuff from K-Tactical that they send. It's like, you know, Picatinny rail sections. There might be pouches in there. There's patches, all kinds of just goodies. So if you're interested in that, send an email to my channel email. It's portac5 556. I'll put it in the video right here. portec556@yahoo.com. Again, I've tried doing this in the comments below, and I think everybody just thought I was a bot. So if you send an email to me, the first 2 people to send an email will get a care package. And I'm going to try to do this more in the future because I have other stuff I can give away, and I'm trying to kind of clear out a little bit. And most of it isn't really worth selling per se, but I figured y'all would appreciate that. So again, email that, and all you got to do is just email that email, and the first 2 people will get something for free. I appreciate you again. Thank you for watching this channel. Sorry I haven't had a whole lot of videos out recently. I've been working on a bunch of different stuff, and I just haven't had time for anything. Whenever you have a family with 2 kids, you don't have time. But anyways, appreciate y'all. Have a good one.